Something I found interesting about this play was the format of the script, which is mentioned later on. I thought it was odd because it was very choppy at times, reading the dialogue between the two characters all telling the same story. But I do think it helped to show the parallelism between the father, son, and grandfather, how they all had the same experiences, or similar experiences as a soldier. The values that I thought were being represented in this dramatic world were bravery and camaraderie, and I thought it was interesting because obviously all the men had camaraderie because they, like I said, they were all able to relate to each other, and this could be seen how they were all mentioning the horrible experiences they had with war, like the leg injuries between the father and son, and the illnesses that they experienced, like trench foot and hypothermia. I also thought they had a disconnect between Elliot and his father because his father didn't want to talk about his wartime stories to his son, especially at the end. I thought that was a very troubling ending. Something I researched further was I was trying to see if this was based off of a true story, and I ended up finding out that I didn't see anything that it was true, but I found out that this was the first play of a trilogy, which I thought was interesting. And when I was reading more about the second and third plays, I learned that there's more turmoil in Elliot's family, which helped me to understand maybe why Pops didn't want to tell Elliot about his wartime stories at the end. Depiction of the American soldier in this play, I thought it reaffirmed how they are so brave and they do sacrifice so much, leaving behind, Elliot at the end is leaving behind his family and his girlfriend, and he's so young. And then I thought it was also challenging, the depiction of an American soldier, because at times when they were talking about being overseas, the soldiers came off as very crass sometimes, which isn't something that is always talked about with war, how these young men are affected while they're over there in these horrible conditions. Researching the word fugue, it's a style of musical composure that uses multiple voices to convey the main theme, which is exactly what this play did. And as I said before, it did come off as choppy sometimes, but this play expresses that the war can be very challenging for families and soldiers, and can create very complex relationships between the fathers and sons that are both soldiers, because while I would have expected Elliot's father to be proud of him, I think it was also Elliot's father didn't want Elliot to follow in that horrible footsteps, I guess. The sacrifices that he had to make for his son, he didn't want his son to also have to make. And then 2 questions I have about the play. Why do you think the playwright chose this style of script formatting to convey his message instead of another form? And then did you enjoy it? And then my second question, why does Elliot decide to go back to war at the end of the play? Thank you.